So, in today's topic, we are going to discuss the overview of decision trees and ensemble methods in machine learning. And the presentation is done by Brian Ochy. On the second slide, we are going to talk to check on the outline of the decision tree, the matrix, the tree building, the ensemble methods, bagging, which is bagging, gradient boosting, and the random forest. So here on the next slide, we are going to define what is a decision tree. So a decision tree is a powerful machine learning algorithm used for solving both classification and regression problems. They are known for their simplicity, interpretability, and ability to handle both numerical and categorical data. On the on the next slide, we are going to talk about the decision tree terminologies, which is the roof node, the first node of the decision tree where all the population of the dataset is divided according to the different traits or circumstances. The second one is decision nodes. Decision nodes are nodes that emerge from the division of root nodes. These nodes in the tree stand in for intermediate choices or circumstances. The third one is the leaf nodes, usually reflecting the end categorization of results. These are nodes where further splitting is not possible. Terminal nodes are another name for leaf nodes. So on the fourth one, we have got the subtree. A subtree is a decision tree much like a subsection of a graph is called a subgraph. It stands for a certain section of the decision tree. And the fifth one here we have got the branch or the subtree. A branch or a subtree is a component of the decision tree that is part of the larger structure within the tree. It symbolizes a certain decision making and result oriented path. And on the last one here, we have got the parent and child nodes. In a decision tree, a node has a child node that emerge from it is called a parent node. A node is divided into subnodes and is called a parent node. A decision of circumstances is represented by the parent node, and possible outcomes or additional decision based on that situation are represented by the child nodes. On the next slide here, we are going to talk about how do decision trees work. And here we start at the top. The decision tree starts with a single node called the root. This represents the whole data set. And the second one here is the plan. At each node, the algorithm asks for a question without the input data. For example, it might ask, is the temperature above 25 degrees centigrade? And also we have got the third one, which is splitting. Depending on the answer of the question, the data is split into branches. Each branch leads to a node with a new question. And the fourth one here is you keep asking. The algorithm keeps asking questions and splitting the data into smaller and smaller groups based on the answers. And the last one here we have got the leaf nodes. Eventually, the process reaches a point where no more questions are needed. These endpoints are called leaf nodes. Each leaf node represents a prediction or a classification label where you want to make a decision using a decision tree. You start the root and follow the branches based on the answers or to the question until you reach the leaf node. The value at the leaf node is your prediction. And here we are going to look at an example of a decision tree. The tree in the diagram below will initially inquire to the weather. It is gloomy, rainy, or sunny. If so, it will be following feature which is wind and humidity. Once more, it will determine whether the wind is strong or weak. If the if it is weak and raining, the user may go outside and play. So on the next slide here, we are going to talk about the decision tree assumptions. So on the decision tree assumptions here, we have got the binary splits, recursive partitioning, feature independence, homogeneity, top-down greedy approach, categorical and numerical features, overfitting, impunity measures, no missing values, and no outliers. On the next slide here, we're going to talk about the ensemble methods. Ensemble refers to a collection of components regarded collectively as opposed to separately to tackle a problem. An ensemble approach builds several models and integrates them. Ensemble approaches contribute to the model's increased generalizability and robustness. Ensemble learning is a machine learning paradigm where multiple models are called weak learners are trained to solve the same problem and combine to get better results. The main hypothesis is that when weak models are collectively combined, we can obtain more accurate and robust models. So here we are going to speak about the weak learners, which we have just talked about from the last slide. So what's a single weak learner? Choosing the right model is crucial for machine learning if we hope to achieve the results regardless of whether the problem is one of regression or classification. Numerous factors related to the problem may influence the decision, include the volume of the data, the space dimensionality, and the distribution hypothesis. Weak learners, sometimes referred to as base model in ensemble learning theory, are models that can be combined to create more complete, complicated models. So let us move to the next slide. And on the next slide, we're going to talk about the combined weak learners. A crucial consideration is that the models we aggregate should align with the selection of weak learners. It is recommended to use the aggregating strategy that tends to minimize its basis models with low variance and high bias are chosen, and to reduce variance if base models with low variance and high bias are chosen. Combining weak learners can result in a model that performs better. Base model combination may should be tailored to the responsive categories, while low variance and high bias base models should be joined in a way that make the ensemble model less biased. Less bias and high variance weak models should be mixed with in a way that strengthens the strong model. So here we are going to move to what is random forest and get to know better what random forest is. The random forest approach is a bagging method where deep trees fitted on bootstrap samples are combined to produce an output with low variance. However, random forests are random forests also use another trick to make the multiple fitted trees a bit less correlated with each other. When growing each tree, instead of only sampling over the observation in the dataset to generate bootstrap sample, we also sample over features that keep only a random subset of them to build the tree. So on the next slide here, we're going to talk about what is a random forest algorithm. Random forest algorithm, widespread popularly known as terms. Let me just end the recording.